Wow, just wow. So Asians now are fighting among themselves after a part has taken the side of blacks, and they are like, oh, you're choosing the black people, you're not choosing your own people, so you guys are not longer part of us. The boycott is affecting all of us, and all the likes and all the rest. These clips will explain it, because now it's very common for you to see lots of content creators. In fact, the ones who speak about blacks and the ones who speak positively about blacks are now being attacked. They are now being attacked because they are choosing black sides. And the truth is this, I think these creators understand exactly why. Because I think for a creator, who a creator is like, you have to do some research, you have to understand the root cause, you have to understand the struggle. And these creators are saying the truth out loud, but most of the Asian communities don't want to hear it. So this clip you're going to watch will explain it better. Let's get into it.
To all the ignorant Asians out there, here's a list of things the black community has done for us. The Filipino and black community share a similar history of dealing with racism, economic exploitation, and imperialism. During the Philippine-American War, black leaders such as Ida B. Wells supported Philippine independence. Black soldiers who fought on the American side ended up leaving their military positions to join the Filipino freedom fighters. The civil rights movement outlawed racial segregation, which directly protected Asian Americans as well. Frederick Douglass advocated against the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. This isn't taking away from the hard work our Asian leaders have done to fight for our equality, but it's important we acknowledge that a lot of the progress we made is because we got help from the black community. So in a time where K-pop idols are wearing cornrows and Filipinos are grateful for American colonization, let's get educated, y'all. We're in this together.
It's funny seeing Asians in my comments telling me to stop pandering, stop kissing their asses, stop betraying your people. Because what you really mean is stop talking. And I need to make something clear. I'm not betraying anybody. I'm not performing for anyone. I'm saying what I've seen, what I've experienced, and a lot of people only want to acknowledge it in private, if at all. I'm definitely not going to let Asian unity be used as a shield that shuts down any conversation about harm. You don't get to turn honesty into some kind of moral failure. You don't get to call it pandering just because it interrupts the story that you're used to telling yourself. Because if talking about anti-blackness in Asian spaces makes you defensive, that reaction is the point. That's the part worth sitting with. And I'm not here to soften anything so it goes down easier. I'm not that kind of person. I'm here to say as it is, even if people wish I wouldn't.
There are already 1,000 Asian Americans chiming in on this app about that Rick Chow case. So I, as an Asian American myself, I'll just add this. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If it weren't for the Black American civil rights movement, we Asian Americans would not have been enjoying the rights that we are enjoying today. We owe them our gratitude. And Asian Americans have been operating their small businesses within the black communities for decades. And so suddenly you're like, what? You feel fearful of the community that you have been profiting from? Get the fuck out of here. This whole anti-black racism mentality that some of my fellow Asian Americans have needs to stop. Okay? And we Asian Americans have to call them out.
We do not claim this man. So apparently this guy decided to burn a cross in Chicago, which we all know has historically been a very racist sign that the KKK used to. And the more situations that arise like this, the worse it makes our community look. I just want to make it clear that most Asians know that this is terrible behavior. With this, I do want to remind people that Asians are not a monolith, and assuming that all Asians are racist is in itself racist and perpetuates the stereotype that we are all the same. And at the same time, I do think there have been enough instances for Asians to have to kind of be on the defense. The same way that white people or men sometimes have to be like, by the way, guys, I'm not that. I'm not that. I guess this is me doing that. But I guess in some ways it's a good thing because now it gives us the opportunity to clear the air and to define where we are in American society and in history. Because a lot of Asians forget, specifically because the US school system never taught us, that we have a lot of shared history with Black and brown people in America. I was a full-on adult when I found out that Asians were brought to the Americas as slaves as well. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't know that. Or maybe people do know that and I just exposed myself. But I certainly never learned that in elementary school, middle school, high school, etc. I had to learn by going out of my way to learn. So let's make this guy the exception and not the rule and condemn this kind of behavior.
The Asian community is literally so anti-black and it literally fucking pisses me off. Like, we are literally so uneducated, uninformed, just misinformed, everything about the black community, and it pisses me off. And like, it just boggles my mind how a lot of Asians see black people as beneath them. I shit you not, I literally saw someone on my story and I literally was so gagged. Like, I was like, are you serious right now? And I sent him a message, ask him if he's being serious about this. This guy is Bhutanese. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but like, I guess he got like some kind of spray tan or whatever because he's doing some kind of stupid movie shoot or whatever. Roy posts on his story and says, because his skin is like 10 shades darker or something, he said, "Can I say the N-word now?" with a ninja emoji next to it. I slid up so fucking quick and I asked this man, are you fucking serious right now? And guess what? That man left me on red. Need I say again that he is not black? He is Bhutanese from Bhutan or whatever the fuck you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Quite honestly, like, the Asian community is literally so underhandedly racist to the black community, and it just, like, not to mention the black community is one of the most supportive of marginalized groups that has ever, like, uplifted the Asian community and actually put effort into supporting us. I'm probably gonna piss a lot of Asians off for saying that, but it's literally the truth, and I fucking see it for what it is.
You cannot understand Asian American history without understanding Black history. And the sooner you understand why, the sooner you'll stop being a fucking tool. So there's actually a name for this. It's called racial triangulation. And this starts with the stereotypes that white supremacy assigns. Black Americans get hit with racism and Asian Americans get hit with xenophobia. Want more Asian people to understand that model minority is not a fucking compliment. When people talk about model minorities, it's usually from a place of like, oh, why can't you just like shut up and be like these nice, obedient Asian people? This model minority stuff is a way to like pit Asian people and black people against each other. It's often used in a way to gaslight into thinking that racism doesn't exist. That's fucking bullshit. Because the second it becomes useful to scapegoat you, it's gonna happen. Case in point, remember the China virus a couple of years ago? Now with this Rick Chow case, this is being framed as some kind of like Asian versus black issue. The harm is real. The anti-blackness in Asian communities is real. I am not excusing it, but I think we also need to ask who's benefiting from this dynamic? Who is benefiting when our communities are beefing with each other? The more I dig into this, the more I'm starting to see that it's not random, it's systemic. And I'm gonna speak directly to my fellow Asian Americans. If you believe that, oh, maybe if I just obey the status quo and be a good boy, I'll be accepted. No, stop being a fucking tool. Conditional acceptance is not acceptance. It's control.
You're gonna believe what this Asian American just said about black Americans getting reparations. Watch this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erin Kimura. I'm a fifth generation Chinese and Japanese American and a fifth generation San Franciscan. I'm here today to fully support black reparations because this is the bare ass minimum. Period. The bare ass minimum. History is enough of a reason. The dehumanization that we've seen is enough of a reason for why we need redress and reparations now. This is not an impossible reality, right? We've seen this with the Japanese Americans in the late 1980s. They received on a federal level reparations. And the fact that black folks and our black community and our brothers and sisters are still waiting for a formal apology, I'm just going to leave that there just to simmer. And I just really want to note, especially as an Asian American woman, I would not be here if it were not for the black liberation struggle, the black freedom fighters, culture creators, and the world builders that have fought for my liberation. So,
thank you. Thank you for your comments.
She's not wrong. Japanese Americans got federal reparations in the late 1980s. Black folks still waiting on an apology. That alone tells you everything about where we stand in this country. But here's the truth about reparations. As long as our identity is classified as a racial category and not a sovereign people, there's no legal framework to receive it. The government can't do a nation-to-nation transaction with people who aren't recognized as a nation. Meaning if they pass reparations today, They will use the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause to say it's discrimination, like they are literally doing to the black people getting reparations in Evanston, Illinois right now. That's why the first step of reparations is self-administered reparations. Like I mentioned in my reparations song, we have to upgrade our identity from just being generic blacks, a racial category, to being indigenous blacks. You gotta establish the foundation before the institution can recognize you. And I go even deeper on this in my book, The Reparation Commandments. Comment, repair below, and I'll send it your way.
Boy, I started smiling so big when I saw this woke Asian female spit nothing but heat. I just want to say thank you. She hit the nail right on the head.
For all the racist fucks that keep saying they have black fatigue, I think it's time we set the record straight. You don't have black fatigue, you have history fatigue. You're tired of being reminded that black people didn't just participate in the world, they were a huge part in shaping it. Every race and every culture has benefited from the sacrifices that black people have made. The civil rights movement didn't just open doors for black Americans, it expanded freedoms for everyone. And the shameful part is black people hardly if ever get the credit for it. Black people aren't just in music and sports. You guys need to get out more, okay? Black people are doctors, lawyers, pilots, judges, engineers, educators, innovators, and the list goes on. They hold up systems that people rely on daily while pretending that contribution doesn't exist. And no, this isn't pandering. This is lived experience. I grew up in an all-white neighborhood with very few black people and no other Asians. And at that time, the only culture that accepted me without question was the black culture. So when people talk about a world without black people, they expose how very little they understand about the world they already live in. Without black people, you don't get a world with less noise. You get a world with less creativity, less freedom, less culture, and less progress. If that truth exhausts you, it's not fatigue. It's discomfort with knowing how much you benefit from this world without acknowledging the source.
Happy Black History Month.
Every day I wake up on this app, and somehow, some way, Asians find a new way to be anti-black, to be misogynistic, to appropriate black culture, and to be microaggressive towards black people. Can you not just shut the fuck up and exist? Can you not just listen to black people when they tell you there's a problem? Y'all want to be white so bad that you're anti-black, you'll go in your graves being anti-black. And it's a problem that Asians have, we as Asians. And I say we because if you are an Asian and you do not hold other Asians who are anti-black, misogynistic, etc. accountable, bitch, you are part of the problem and I don't give a fuck if you don't think so. Shut the fuck up. Asians, shut the fuck up! Happy Black History Month. Here are some ways that Asians perpetuate anti-black racism every day. Calling the police on black people. Profiling potential black customers that enter your small Asian business. Not believing black people's stories and struggles. Using and promoting skin whitening products, otherwise known as colorism. Using African American vernacular English or a black scent. Perpetuating respectability politics based on the model minority myth. They did this to themselves. Believing we can fit in if we act more white. Forgetting that we too benefit from social justice movements that are led by and with black people. Staying silent when black people experience violence. Not being willing to listen and understand as to why black people are mad at us. Excluding or only including black people in your dating pools. Saying the N-word. Engaging and or profiting from black art while never engaging in social justice discourse that supports black people. Intentionally avoiding predominantly black neighborhoods and calling them sketchy, ghetto, or scary. Not valuing, supporting, or acknowledging black people while we salivate over our white counterparts.
When you become pro-Asian enough, you start listening to black people and become pro-black as well. I'm not talking about individual Asian advancement where you play pick-me to white people, cater to them, make yourself smaller for them, maybe marry one of them, and then move up in society that way. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When you're interested in the liberation of the Asian American collective and in Asians around the world freeing themselves, and specifically to Asian Americans because we are a relatively new ethnic group in America, you realize that black Americans have been liberating themselves for as long as they have been here, for over 400 years. You look at the way that they ostracize the pick-me's in their community, the Candace Owens, you can see what happened with Onyeka, the Danish deception girl. Black people, and specifically Black women, did not let them off the hook. Candace Owens can no longer go to Black people for any kind of support or help because as a collective, they have disowned her. Why are Asians not doing more of that? Look at the way that Black people have created their own spaces, created their own communities throughout American history. Even when white people have gone and tried to destroy them, they have managed to create their own culture, their own language. They're protective of those spaces. They embrace their ethnic features and hair texture instead of just doing whatever Karen is doing. And this, I'm talking generally. I'm not saying that every Black American is like this. I'm saying that a lot of them are, and that the general sentiment that I get from that community is that they are proud to be who they are. So if you're Asian and you're thinking, I want to be able to wear my cheapao to school. I don't like it when people gentrify my food after making fun of it my entire childhood. I don't like being fetishized, and I will not marry someone who does that to me. When you start thinking this way, you just look right on over to Black people, and they've already had those thoughts. They've already done the same thing. You just do it in your own Asian flavor. And this doesn't even get into the fact that our liberation is all tangled up in each other. Like all the minorities in the US and in the world, overthrowing white supremacy is like a collective effort. And Black people have been telling us this since we got here. I'm just hoping that if I say it, then maybe you will listen. Stop using Black people as a gotcha against Asians. Whenever Asians talk about hate crimes or fetishization, which are acts of blatant white supremacy, someone's always like, oh, but it was Black people who committed the most crimes against Asians. Actually, no, statistically, you're just wrong. It was a white person who walked into the Atlanta spa with a pew-pew and murdered 8 people, including 6 Asian women, citing that they were temptations for his sexual fantasies. Sounds about white to me. And for a second, let's just consider that Black people were committing as many crimes per capita as white people were against Asian people. That doesn't make them any worse than the white people committing the crimes. So your whataboutism, I'm just gonna throw it back in your face because you're trying to distract from the real issue. And it's not just white people who are doing this. It's people in our own community, Asian people, who are perpetuating this anti-Black white supremacist myth. Or if we talk about cultural appropriation, people are like, oh, but Wu-Tang Clan. But Megan Thee Stallion cosplayed as an anime character. I don't give a fuck about Megan. I saw that costume. It made me feel loved. And her political activism has always been on the right side and inclusive of everyone. And if they want to talk about like historical clashes between Black people and Asian people, literally Asian people were given not very much land to live on in all these cities, and they always put us right next to the Black people as like a buffer to separate the Black neighborhoods with the Asian neighborhoods and the white neighborhoods. Like we were just that great wall in between the white people and the Black people. All of my talking points where I'm defending our culture and our people from these people, I'm not gonna lie, I learned them mostly from listening to Black people, from being in community with Black people, from having Black people in my life. Talking to them and reading their literature has helped give voice to a lot of these things that I've been feeling my entire life that took me out of this like fiction of being their model minority. And now I really see it, because if I had stayed that model minority, then I'd be causing a lot less trouble for white people. And they're not the majority in America anymore. They're only the plurality. And they know that the second that all of us non-white folks banded together, they would lose everything they've ever had.
So I'm noticing a lot of racist comments on my comment section, a lot of which are from people who identify as Black. So I just want to shed light on this race war between the Asian American community and the Black American community. Yes, there is racism on both sides. But what do we have in common, other than being both discriminated minorities? We are both American, and America was founded on multiculturalism and diversity. That's why multiculturalism works so well in America, and really only in America, whereas in other countries like Europe and Asia, multiculturalism doesn't work so well, because those places weren't founded on the value of multiculturalism. They were ethnostates. America is not an ethnostate. And a lot of white leftists think it's the white majority oppressors versus the minority oppressed. But clearly there's a race war within the minority oppressed. And it's tearing apart the very foundation of what America was built on. We are one human race after all.
Oh look, another Asian being anti-Black. Listen up, I might have never heard of Mark Lee before now, but this is a hell of an introduction in the worst possible way. So I learned he's some K-pop singer and he's Canadian, and so far, all of this is tracking. This man knows what he's doing. Even if you're not American, you know what this flag is. Canadians know what this flag is. And to the Asians who are about to say something defending this nonsense, the reason I know he knows what he's doing is he didn't apologize for this, despite getting immense backlash. His label apologized for this. If you really, really are anti-racist and not anti-Black, You're gonna speak up. You're not attaching yourself to any sort of anything that would say otherwise about you. And this isn't me saying that we all have to know everything and be perfect and we can never get anything wrong. But if you mess up like this, you are offensive like this, and you don't know, you're out in front owning it and taking action and embodying what it means to know better and do better, period. And that's precisely what this dude is not doing. And I want to make it clear that this video is me addressing the Asian community because I am in this community. So I want to be clear who the audience is here. And I'm so tired of this anti-Black nonsense and behavior. As a whole, this needs to improve. And the whole Rick Chow incident and everything that happened since seems to only be making animosity and promoting Asian pride and damn everyone else so much worse. And that mindset is killing us. This is not it. All that does is serve white supremacy. And at this point, as a collective, it is time to stop expending so much damn energy to be accepted by the white man. Enough. I've made so many videos over the years talking about this, but enough. We should be able to say that what this dude did is wrong, offensive, and deserves an actual real apology and real action, not whatever this PR management is. We can't only understand complexity and nuance when it's us. That's a privilege that is reserved only for white people. We don't get that privilege as Asians. Please get it together. This is,
I've seen a few comments like this with, Asians and Black people fighting in my comment section. And honestly, it shows how little we actually talk about the history behind all of this. The tension didn't just magically appear. It was shaped by decades of laws, segregation, stereotypes, and political narratives that pushed our communities apart. When Asian immigrants first came to the US, they weren't allowed to live just anywhere. Segregation forced them into Black and brown neighborhoods because those were the only areas open to anyone who wasn't white. So Asians and Black Americans were physically close, but not always connected. Different languages, different histories, limited communication, misunderstandings grew out of that. Then in the 1960s, during the Civil Rights Movement, the US created the model minority myth. The idea that Asian Americans were successful, quiet, and proof that racism doesn't exist. That stereotype was never meant to lift Asians up. It was meant to contrast Asians against Black Americans and basically say, see, they're doing fine, why can't you? It was a political tool that built resentment and pressure on both sides, even though neither community created that narrative. At the same time, anti-Blackness already existed in some Asian cultures because of colonialism, colorism, and Western media influence. And for some Black Americans, their only interactions with Asians were through local businesses, corner stores, nail salons, restaurants, situations that were transactional, not relational. That created frustration and stereotypes on both sides. But here's the thing. In both communities, it's only a small handful of people who are actually hateful or racist. A few loud, ignorant individuals do not represent millions of us. We can't let the worst examples define entire communities. Then COVID hit and all of this got amplified again. Anti-Asian hate skyrocketed. Elderly Asians were attacked, harassed, and blamed for the virus, all because of fear and political scapegoating. Some of the viral videos showed attackers who were Black, and suddenly that tiny number of incidents turned into a whole narrative online like Black people hate Asians, which was inaccurate and unfair. What people forget is that Black activists and Black organizations publicly stood with Asian communities during that time. People protested for us. They protected Asian elders. They spoke out against the hate. But the media rarely highlighted the solidarity, only the violence. And yes, some Asians responded by generalizing those incidents and blaming the entire Black community, which made things even worse, even though the majority of Black people had nothing to do with those attacks. COVID didn't create new racism. It exposed what was already unaddressed and made stereotypes louder because everyone was scared and hurting. But amid all of that, we forget that historically there has also been real solidarity. Asian American activists learned organizing strategies from Black civil rights leaders. Filipino and Black farm workers united under Larry Itliong and Cesar Chavez. Japanese American activists stood with the Black Panthers. Yuri Kochiyama worked alongside Malcolm X. In Oakland, Black and Asian communities built programs together to fight poverty and injustice. These are real alliances. They just don't get talked about as much as the conflicts. That's why we need to zoom out. A handful of ignorant people shouldn't define entire communities. A bad experience shouldn't turn into a stereotype. We shouldn't let old narratives and old wounds be recycled and divide us again. Asians and Black people have both faced discrimination, exclusion, violence, and being treated like outsiders. We have more in common than we think, and when we work together, there's real power, real healing, and real progress. We just have to stop letting fear, stereotypes, and misinformation talk louder than the history and solidarity we actually come from.
But what they're trying to do now, they're trying to spin the whole narrative of black people saying, hey, we're going to kind of pump the brakes on going in some of your businesses if you think you're going to have a green light to start bussing. So they're trying to now flip this, excuse me, into boycotting them is equivalent to Asian hate. They're trying to drum up the stop Asian hate narrative again. All right? So let me let y'all hear a couple of clips out here that's circulating by some of the Asian influencers on social media. Let me let y'all know some of the things that they're saying. Listen to some of this stuff. And some of them are getting very disrespectful with it. Hold on one second. All right? Let's listen to this. Hold on, where are we? All right, here we go. Hold on.
Look, I wasn't going to talk about the Rick Chow situation, but as an Asian American, I have to talk about this. Black people are calling for other black people to boycott all Asian businesses. Are you kidding me? So the actions of one individual represents the entire race, huh?
Oh,
we should punish the entire fucking race because of one person.
Oh, y'all do that to us? If somebody do something to you, you follow us around and you pew-pewing innocent black kids who didn't do anything?
I'm just going to call it what it is. This is straight up racism. Asians are a minority in this country, even more so than black people. Once one Asian person steps out of line, the entire race gets hated on. Remember COVID? Remember? China virus?
That was white people doing that. The white tea supremacists was doing that, all that China. That was Trump and the... No. See, they try to put all that on us. They don't say nothing about the white tea supremacists. Hold on.
Kung flu virus, the whole 150% increase in Asian hate crimes, and the whole Stop Asian Hate movement, which conveniently was stopped because of who they found out were the perpetrators. Chinese is different than Japanese, is different from Korean, is different from Vietnamese. There are over 2 billion people in Asia. They're all fucking different. We are not a monolith. As Asians in America...
Oh, hold on. Let me pause that for one second. I don't want to hear that you're not a monolith nonsense. You became a monolith to protect Peter Liang. Remember, don't let them run that game. We ain't a monolith. When Peter Liang unalived Akai Gurley, all these Asian organizations from Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, all of them got together to protect Peter Liang. Don't ever forget that. Don't let them run that shit. All of them got together to protect Peter Liang. All of them. All right? Don't let them try to, well, we ain't them and we ain't, no. All of you got together as an Asian bloc to protect one of your fellow Asians against him harming a black person. All right? Y'all don't do that. No. Don't play that game. All right, let me play the rest of this. All right? Let me play the rest. Hold on.
We are only tolerated. They like our culture. They like our food. They like our music.
Okay, I didn't see all. Who? What? We like what? What? Your culture? What culture we like? What culture? We go to the food spots because y'all be cooking our shit. Yeah, what culture? We don't patronize you like that. Hold on now. What culture? Hold on. I didn't catch that part. What culture? Hold on, let me take that back. What culture? What culture do we like? Hold on.
Fucking different. We are not a monolith. As Asians in America, we are only tolerated. They like our culture, they like our food, they like our music.
What? Music? What music? K-pop? What music is he talking about? What music is he? Y'all over there doing 90s R&B, some shit we created. Y'all, that's your biggest music genre is some shit we did in the 90s. What you talking about? K-pop, which is a bootleg version of our 90s R&B? What are you talking about? Really? Now you see why people are like, okay, these folks got a lot of nerve. Really?
Right now, the black community online is talking about how they're going to boycott Asian businesses and how much they don't like Asians.
We never said we didn't like Asians. We said we didn't like the way they treated us while they're in our neighborhoods making money and flourishing off of the black dollar.
Cordell Gooseby, who, in the end of March, was found not guilty by reason of insanity after he murdered an Asian woman and her unborn child.
Cordell Gooseby was proven guilty by reason of insanity because he was actually insane. You must not know how substantial evidence needs to be in order to be proven guilty by insanity. Long story short, the defense hired an expert that proved that he was insane at the time of the shooting. Prosecution ended up hiring their own expert, and that expert came to the same conclusion, that he was insane at the time of the shooting. Was he wrong? Yes. We're not fighting over lesser evils, but if you want to put the information out there, put it out there.
Stop Asian Hate only got attention because of one white criminal attacking a spa.
That one spa that you were talking about was actually a 3-spa killing spree in Atlanta, March 16, 2021, where 8 people were killed in total, but 6 of them were women of Asian descent. Instead of saying the shooter's name, I'll say the victims. Delana Ashley Yuan, Dao J. Tan, Dao Yao Fang, Alondre Michaels, Hugh Jung Grant, Suncha Kim, Soon Chung Park, Young I.U. Rest in peace.
190,000 cases of black on Asian crime from 2017 to 2021. That is completely ignored.
I did not find that magic 190,000 cases that you were talking about, but let me tell you what I did find. From 1992 to 2014, 75% of anti-Asian hate crimes, the perpetrator was white. During COVID, 90% of anti-Asian hate crimes reported were white perpetrators. 75% of those were physical attacks. 2020, almost 90% of anti-Asian hate news was spread by white perpetrators. Did the black community commit some hate crimes against Asians? Yes. Is it right? No. Nobody's right to impede on or violate somebody else's rights. That should not be allowed. You need to sweep the front porch of your own race and stop worrying about ours. According to the FBI, with reported hate crime cases, guess who's still the #1 most motherfucking hated? You guessed it, us. According to the FBI, guess which race is most reported as the perpetrators against us? Ding, 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 ding. You fucking guessed it.
You can boycott whatever business you'd like, but if you're really burnt up about the Rick Chow case, there's a lot of other shit I can show you.
And really get into how those anti-Asian hate crimes, how 75% of those perpetrators were white males that look exactly like you. Unless you want to keep it cool, because I got plenty more to show you.
I think you've watched it. I think you've seen a lot of Asian creators speak in favor of black people. Look, the truth is that most of these people, when you go watch the history of Asians and blacks, you tend to realize that we supported one another, especially the blacks. Blacks are, I think, one of the highest race of groups of people that fight for stuff, especially for immigrants, what's that, racism. We are the most people who fight that, and that's because we've gone through the most as well. I think black people enabled Asians coming to the country. They enabled so many things, and the videos you've watched just probably explains it. But the point here is this: at the end of the day, I don't understand why Asians are attacking fellow Asians speaking about black history, for speaking about the reasons why we have to work together, because no one of them that I've watched so far is completely trashing out his own or her own people, saying you guys are dumb, you guys, I haven't heard that. They all address the kids respectfully, and they are speaking from what they have studied. That's why I always encourage Asians, go back and learn about black history, go back and learn about we the black people. If you do that, if you understand the history and you do that, I think all these fights here and there, boycotts, are gonna end, right? And I think the person that benefits the most from this is just the whites. That's the truth, because the more we're conflicted with each other, the more there's this what they say, divide and conquer. I think that's exactly what it is. You divide them, they are ununited, everyone is fighting each other, but you conquer at once. We have to start realizing that our histories are very important to one another. And I don't enjoy the fact that you guys are fighting each other for something that you could just basically take your time, take your phone, punch it into ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini, and get real-time answers. I don't just know why you can't do that. But well, at the end of the day, I think we have to come together. We have to start realizing that we're fighting white supremacy, we're fighting as the minority. What do you think about this video? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another one, guys.